Get off my lawn!
Oh, what's up, Twitch? Welcome to round 2 of the Old Cranky Man
yeah.
Championships here at Game Castle in Ankeny. My name is Blake, and I am joined here by Stefan. And if you are enjoying the stream today, please follow the channel. You can head over to YouTube as well, Old Cranky Man Collectibles on YouTube, and watch all of these streams in VOD style.
Oh, yeah. And if you have Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
give us those Bezos bucks.
Hell yeah.
Give me that Jeff Bezos money. Take it right out of his pocket, slip it into ours.
Players today are playing for the OCM Championship belts and their share of $3,000. In the feature match for round 2, you have the elephant in the room. It's Rakdos Scam, piloted by Chris.
Deck is very good.
I enjoy this deck.
Yeah.
It's obnoxious,
Yeah.
but I do enjoy it.
I would say it's obnoxious if it's a room full of Rakdos Scam players. And that's from my commentary side.
Watching it over and over and over again can be a bit mind-numbing, as with any deck, really.
Right, true.
Really. At the bottom of your screen, Rakdos Scam's opponent is Wes, playing Yawgmoth. We watched Wes in the finals playing a Yawg Mirror.
Against Luke.
One of the more interesting games that we got to cover this year.
I loved that match.
2023 is coming to a close. I'm thinking back about all of the great Magic that we've watched all year long, and the Yawgmoth Mirror match. I believe that was in July.
It was summer, yeah.
It was one of the better games that we've watched. So players are getting started here. Chris on the play is going to start off with the Black Cleave Cliffs and Ragavan.
It's a real game now. We don't have a turn 1 grief.
And Wes has a Young Wolf.
What is that? What's that? It's my rap name.
Yeah, Unge Wolfe.
Unge Wolfe. This is a joke back when Blake and I used to play Pauper together all the time, is I would play the mono green Stompy deck, and Young Wolf was like a meta choice. I adore that card. It's so good. Okay, we got to turn 2 grief.
Yeah, so Yawgmoth, typically not favored here in game 1.
No.
They've got the Furies and the Orcish Bowmasters to kind of kill the Mana Dorks in the ways that Wes can get ahead. Wes, very, very skilled pilot, though.
Oh, sure.
Qualified for Atlanta.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And looks like the Grief Scam is going to get rid of 2 copies of Grist, which most Yawgmoth players will tell you that
the best card in the deck.
Grist is the best card in the deck.
100%.
Agatha's Soul Cauldron, another recent addition to the Yawgmoth deck.
Oh, 100%.
It's super interesting, especially with cards like Grist.
Because you can take out your opponent's graveyard or take value from your own.
Right.
And it's 2 mana.
Yeah, you can turn your Mana Dorks into Grists.
Yes. And notably, now that Yawgmoth is on these halflings that can produce colorless mana, it's sort of interestingly. The Cauldron, is that legendary? It's legendary, right?
Yeah, the Cauldron is legendary.
It makes it uncounterable.
It does, yes.
And I love that.
Yeah, so on Wes's turn is just going to be a Verdant Catacombs and the Delighted Halfling that you see there. Back over to Chris. Chris has a Fable of the Mirror Breaker.
Whoa. What a
and
card.
that's one of those. Do you remember the first Pokemon movie that came out probably
2000? It was Pokemon 2000.
Yeah, that's the Mew promo.
Yep, I remember
He's
that.
using as the Goblin token there. I have one of those in my binder at home as well.
Second best Goblin promo.
Second copy of Young Wolf from Wes.
Young Wolf just represents a great blocker too. Like if you put them under, it'll trade with a Ragavan and then come back bigger.
Yeah.
If you need to double block a Grief, that's totally fine.
Except the Grief has +1/+1, so it's a 4/3. Chris is going to...
However, they'll come back as 2/2s.
Go up to 2 lore counters.
Yeah.
Looks like he is going to discard a Blood Moon and
Probably
draw
smart.
an additional card. Yeah, Blood Moon not super effective against the Yawgmoth deck.
Are we going back to Pokemon?
In the red zone.
Super effective?
Goblin Token's going to make a treasure. Look, he has more than
my God.
one. So this is perfect.
That's
Chris,
so good.
Chris, this is mint. I
Well
love it.
done. I don't hate this at all.
Love it.
Yeah, the Fable of the Mirror Breaker is sort of a problem for decks that want to 1-for-1 your opponent, because it immediately represents 2 cards on board, lets you filter for cards that you need in hand and fill your graveyard if that's your style.
Sure.
And then turns into what is one of the most busted cards ever printed, Kiki Jiki.
Kiki Jiki the Mirror Breaker.
Yeah. And if you've ever thought to yourself, I would like more than 1 copy of Kiki Jiki and play at a time and only pay 3 mana and get additional value off of it, then Fable is your bread and butter.
100%.
So Wes cycling through a land. I think he's flooding a bit here. If he's anything like me, he cycled that Nurture Repeat land.
He has nothing but lands, I believe. Chris did hard cast that Grief last turn, so I believe we are looking at everything that Wes has, except for the card that he drew for his draw step.
If he had a Yawgmoth, he'd play it right now.
Yeah. Uncounterably so.
Yeah.
Verdant Catacombs going to get cracked. How do you feel about these new full art
I
basics
adore them.
here?
I adore those.
They are beautiful.
They're gorgeous. The fact that Wizards keeps on reinventing new ways to show basic lands in like interesting and creative settings and changing the framing too. So like I loved that's a blocker. Now that is a blocker.
Wall of Roots is one heck of a blocker.
And there's a grist.
Yeah,
This is fantastic.
Wes did put together a couple of pretty relevant draws.
So we get to
there.
sack
He's able to add to the board.
Yep.
In addition to ramping up that mana a little
Wow.
bit. Now he gets to kill the not dead after all Grief.
Yep.
And turn his Young Wolf into a 2/2.
That is
Pretty
spectacular.
fair exchange. Sean would like to point out that the plural of Kiki Jikis is Kiki's Jiki.
Yeah.
Like attorneys at law.
Okay, not Coco Joko.
Fable the Mirror Breaker going to transform into reflection of Kiki Jiki.
Not the true Kiki Jiki, just his reflection.
Just his reflection.
It's how he shaves.
So I see Chris's hand. I believe he has a Not Dead After All and a Terminate.
He would have loved to have had that Not Dead After All last turn. When his opponent...
Where do we point this Terminate? At the Young Wolf that has the counter on it, or at the Wall of Roots?
At the wall. Okay. I would have gone to the wall. The wall is... So the issue
He
with...
doesn't have double black, so you could even probably make a case for getting the Delighted Halfling, because he couldn't cast Yawgmoth off of that.
So I'll tell you the reason I like taking the Wall of Roots. If he gets a... if Wes draws a Chord of Calling, that Wall of Roots represents 2 mana.
It does. That's true.
And it's also such a good blocker for everything.
All our friends in the chat. Jay says, Robot Face. Good morning, Sean.
What's up, bud?
How's everybody doing?
Oh, yeah, we got Sean.
My name is Blake, and I am here with Stefan. And if you're enjoying the stream today, please follow the channel. Head over to YouTube. Give Old Cranky Man Collectibles a follow there. After an attack and block from a Young Wolf, a Not Dead After All is going to bring back this Ragavan.
Oh, there's a land.
With a wicked, what is it called? Wicked Roll.
Yeah, the Wicked Roll.
Attached to it.
Wes
is
flooded.
Done.
He
Game number
drew so
1
many
going to
lands.
go to Chris. These players are going to get sideboarded, and we will be right back. All right, players have already gotten started here for game number 2. Wes has a Forest and a Delighted Halfling.
The Happy Halfling.
Chris is going to crack a fetch land. So Chris did a little bit of light sideboarding.
Sure.
Took out 1 copy of Feigned Death, 1 copy of Shieldred the Apocalypse, 1 copy of Blood Moon, and brought in an additional Lightning Bolt, an additional Terminate, and 1 copy of Engineered Explosives. I kind of like Shieldred in this matchup because if you can grind them early and then land a Shieldred, it makes it really hard for them to combo because they lose 2 life every time they draw a card.
It's a spectacular finisher.
I'm not sure. Maybe Chris just thought the 1 copy of Shieldred in the deck was enough, which I can see.
Yeah.
How did Wes sideboard?
You're going to think this is very funny then. So, because you said, Wes did some pretty heavy sideboarding, and I think you have to. This matchup requires a more grindy thing.
Orcish Bowmaster is going to take care of this Ragavan pass back over to Chris.
So, Wes took out a copy of Gildagoose, 2 copies of Stranglergeist, a copy of Young Wolf, a Blood Artist, a Fulminator Mage, which I didn't realize he had mainboarded.
It's for the Agatha Soul Cauldron.
Right, and then 2 copies of Court of Calling. So he's
Fury going to take care of Wes's entire board. The Orcish Bowmaster, the Army Token, and the Delighted.
This is what I'm talking about, why we have to be ready to grind.
Sure.
So what Wes brought in, 2 copies of the One Ring, a copy of Terra Sunder, 2 copies of Endurance, a Go for the Throat, a Fatal Push, and a Shield of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, so this is pretty atypical, I think, of Yawgmoth in this. They turn into a mid-range deck.
Absolutely.
They're taking out some of that weaker stuff, some of those dead draws, some of that stuff that's not so good in the long game, and they're just going up in their deck's long game.
Absolutely. They're focusing less on comboing, too. They just want that higher card quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll win the game however it's convenient. They're just going to be a mid-range deck.
Yep.
Dashing a Ragavan into Wes here. Right over the top of this Agatha Soul Cauldron. Wes is going to take a minute and think about this.
I just realized something. So if Wes is a Fatal Push right here, this is its best case scenario. You could...
Surprise blocker.
Love it.
Let's see if Chris has a removal spell from
Nope.
Dryad Arbor. He does not.
Oh, baby.
Dryad Arbor going to trade with Ragavan.
What is it? Flash is haste for blockers.
Flash is indeed haste for blockers.
And a fetch land gives your blocker haste.
Agatha Soul Cauldron going to get activated. We'll get rid of that Ragavan.
If he takes out the...
Oh, sorry. No, he got rid of... Did he get rid of Ragavan? I'm confused. Which pile is Chris's graveyard? I think he took a land out.
He took a land, yeah.
Interesting. Beseiju.
Ooh,
Here's a Spike Feeder.
This is also a combo piece. If you take out the Dryad Arbor with the Soul Cauldron, do you give the creature with counters the ability to make mana? Because that's an activated ability, right? Even though it's inherent with the forest status.
Interesting. I don't know. We will have to ask our resident Agatha Soul Cauldron expert, Luke Sheely.
Or we can ask our judge, Wes. Or not Wes. Dakota.
Yeah. Grief going to get cast. That just shows a second copy of Agatha Soul Cauldron, a One Ring, and a Wall of Roots. Looks like was the draw step. So the One Ring got discarded.
Smart.
Wes going to get in the red zone with the Spike Feeder. Looks like Chris is just going to take that. We'll head back over to Chris. Chris is going to attack. Wes down to... Is that a 4 or a 14? I believe that's a 14.
Yeah.
Delighted Halfling going to get exiled underneath the Soul Cauldron. That'll put a counter on the Spike Feeder.
Yeah, Spike Feeder is going to give him the ability to grind because you can just gain life at will. The second Soul Cauldron not doing as much here, obviously, but it does provide a bit of redundancy for Wes. So if Chris wants to remove the Soul Cauldron or wants to Thought Seize him, it's like whatever. You're not doing anything here. What is that? Is that a Go for the Throat in hand?
Didn't catch a glimpse of it. Spike Feeder back in the red zone. Terminate's going to take care of this Spike Feeder.
Oof. Spike Feeder coming in as a 3/3 here.
Here is 2 mana.
So Terminate, he can just remove these counters and gain life.
Remove the counters and put them on
the Wall of Roots.
Roots.
He can also gain life.
And then he will gain life with the other counters.
Dang, back up to 20. All of Chris's good work. And he's producing
mana. He's going to take a counter off, make a mana. Here's a Hapatra, Vizier of
Poisons.
Vizier of Poisons.
The Vizier of Remedies is the no -1/-1 counters.
So does this go infinite?
It does.
If he exiles the Spike Feeder and puts the counter of the Wall of Roots, does he have infinite?
No.
Lightning Bolt going to take care of Hapatra.
So the Wall of Roots only puts -0/-1 counters on itself, not -1/-1 counters.
So they don't negate each other out?
No.
But the creature won't die.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's so weird because
it is weird.
They're two separate, like only -1/-1 and +1/+1 cancel each other out. And Wall of Roots produces a very strange type of counter.
It does.
So Hapatra can tap for mana.
It does go infinite.
Yep. Okay.
It goes infinite with Hapatra. Yeah. So Wes gonna get game number 2. Kind of shockingly, he really drew very hot there.
Yeah.
At the end.
Chris took a bunch of cards out of his hand, and still like that Agatha Soul Cauldron, man.
Yeah, that turn 2 Fury to wipe the board was pretty nuts as well. But it just kind of shows you how resilient this deck can be. That the Agatha Soul Cauldron, a very, very solid addition to this deck.
And think how if that One Ring had hit the board, the game's over.
Yeah.
Wes just takes over from there.
Yeah.
His card advantage just goes nuts. and he can gain enough life to offset basically anything.
Jeremiah in the chat says, yes, if you exile Dryad Arbor to the Agatha Soul Cauldron, your creatures now do tap for mana.
I dig that.
Sick.
Well,
right.
yeah, like, I know that's like reminder text effectively, but like it's
an inherent ability.
Yeah, reminder text is still text.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still an activated ability that it can.
Yeah,
do.
on those new Shocklands, they don't even say they tap for Like they don't even say they tap for mana.
Text.
It just says it's an island mountain or whatever.
And then it has the shock. It's wild.
Make sure you hit that follow button. We stream just about every weekend. Yep. We've always got something going on. Tomorrow is the Lawnlander Championship. So if you haven't been following us this year, Lawnlander is a Canadian Highlander circuit that we've been running in this game store. Championships are tomorrow. Players are playing for a sword and their share of $1,200. These players today are playing for the championship series, which gets them the championship belt. And their share of $3,000.
Yeah. But I got scolded for putting the belt on this morning.
By me.
By you.
While I was trying to take a picture of it.
It looked great.
Thoughtsy's here going to take a grist from Wes's hand. I'll head back over. Both players kept 7, I believe.
This is, all right, people can poo-poo the Rakdos scam deck all they want, but this is a super interesting matchup.
I like the Rakdos scam deck, just kind of like we talked about earlier. It just gets mind-numbing to watch it. Round after round after round, but it's that way with any deck. There's always going to be a best deck.
And if you're a Rakdos player, I think you fall in love with the play patterns.
100%.
You have to, because you don't have to mulligan hard. You're just going to play whatever is in your hand and sequence it correctly.
So, Stefan, can you see what's about to happen here?
We got a Delighted Halfling. We've got a Grist the Hunger Tide and a what is that he just played? That's an Agatha Soul Cauldron. So we're going to be able to exile the Grist there, and our creatures are going to have activated abilities of a Planeswalker. Grist, notably a 1/1 bug creature, not in play. I do have.
That was an insane turn.
That
for
is
Wes.
wild. Yeah, I feel like an idiot now discarding it with Thoughtseize, huh? So now he can tick up a creature because it has activated abilities
of a Planeswalker.
Yeah. Interestingly, so he's going to tick it up, make a bug. Because, so the creature doesn't actively have
loyalty abilities.
Loyalty.
No.
So you have to
tick it up in order to tick it down.
So you see,
it's effectively a Planeswalker with starting loyalty 0, but it does not die to state-based effects. This is a crazy interaction. Cool. Yeah, Agatha Soul Cauldron really made this deck very, very sweet.
Go for the throat, kind of stuck. We need that second black mana. It's double black, right?
No, it's 1 and a black.
Oh, so this Voidwalker is not long for the world.
Which is great for Wes because the Voidwalker is basically his best card.
Yes,
against this
100%.
It just turns off so much.
I adore Grist the Hunger Tide. I hate the art on the regular version of it. I have to have the sketch art.
Yeah, it grosses you out.
It does gross me out. I have a tattoo of a weevil on my arm now that looks like the bugs that Grist makes because I love the bugs, but I can't stomach Grist.
Ryan in the chat says, idea for Wizards. I would play for the revised dual land. I would pay for the revised dual land text on Shocks as a secret layer or something like that with a 2-color text box. I agree. I think that's very, very cool. So if you don't know, on the Patreon, I have been releasing paintings that I'm doing. I'm making proxies for the original 10 dual lands and some other stuff too.
Yeah.
And I have been trying to perfect that sort of like spiraling 2-color box that was originally. It's very, very hard to recreate.
It's so cool.
So yes, Ryan, I agree. They should print Shocklands with the 2-color spiral just like the revised duels.
I think we should reprint revised duels.
That's an idea too. I don't hate it.
Yeah. So go for the throat. Dealt with one of the Voidwalkers. And we still have a Voidwalker in play. These all have, Void counters on them.
Yeah, they get exiled with void counters on them.
I don't think that this other Voidwalker is long for the world. We get to downtick the Delighted Halfling next turn and sacrifice itself to kill the Voidwalker. Agatha Soul Cauldron, wild card.
I believe both of the Delighted Halflings are Grists and Voidwalkers now.
Yes, correct.
I believe they both have a counter on them.
Yeah, and we can sack the bugs.
So he has not activated the second Voidwalker yet.
Chris cannot believe what's happening to him right now.
Oh, sorry. I'm wrong. They have both been activated.
Yeah, they have the yellow is the loyalty, and then the +1/+1 is. This is actually great.
It is really solid for tracking. Actually,
Yeah, Wes is tracking this perfectly.
Wes is doing a great job of representing his board state. Terminate going to take care of one of the delighting halflings.
Oh God. So we're still getting in. We're representing that clock with the Voidwalker. We do have a black up right now. Chris could have a not dead after all. Could have one of the scam
cards.
Scam
He
cards
did take out one of the feigned deaths,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's entirely possible that if another removal spell gets pointed at this Voidwalker.
At this point, Wes just wants more bodies because he can continue to exile things out of graveyards, put counters on things.
Fetch land, gonna go find a Dryad Arbor on the instep, it looks like.
Yep, great.
Wes is gonna untap here.
So now we just need to. We have land, and unknown third in hand right now. I don't know what's in Chris's hand. Looks like a Terminate. That Beseiju.
So the Delighted Halfling that's also a Grist is going to tick up mill a Beseiju.
Is he just
that's
making
gonna
bugs?
Make another bug.
He can swing in for 4 right now. Take his opponent. No, 4, 3.
He's
4,
casting a Court of
7.
Calling, I believe. Oh no, he is attacking.
Attacking for 7. This is a 2-turn clock. He's made enough bugs to run his opponent over. How else do you want to die than to bugs?
Right.
Interestingly, if he leaves the Soul Cauldron up, Chris can't living or feign death.
Right, because it'll hit
the bin.
One of them, I can't remember which scam spell. One of the scam spells gets around it.
Yes.
The creature never actually goes to the graveyard.
If it would die
instead. Yeah.
Yeah, but the other ones, when it dies, bounce it back. Undying
I can't remember which one it is. There's so many different ones.
There's
Undying
like 5.
Evil. Undying Evil gives it Undying.
So it does hit the bin.
I think it's Malakir Rebirth, maybe.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure.
There's so many. But you have to have basically the perfect one. And right now, Chris's hand is removal spell, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Or Chris's hand is Fable, Terminate, and something else that I...
2 mana for a
terminating.
Terminate. Going to take care of the other Delighted Halfling.
Doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got...
Yeah, I mean, he was able to put a ton of power in play with the Grist, so...
So what are we doing? We're exiling the
Agatha
Terminate.
the Soul Cauldron is going to get rid of a Terminate, and then we'll head back over to Wes.
Who needs graveyards, right?
Untap.
So non-creature spells don't give counters. And we're just racing.
Yeah, so 5 damage going to come across here is another land.
Chris has to win now or it's over. Wes got him dead on board. I don't know what Wes's life total is, but
9.
Yeah, it's too much. All these 1-for-1 removal spells, and at most...
Well, the 1-from-1 removal spells have been pretty good.
Sure, yeah.
Chris has kind of been on the back foot the entire game because his
Yeah.
Agatha Soul Cauldron has just been nuts. Here's a Terra Sunder. It looks like it's going to take care of that Voidwalker.
Yep.
So Voidwalker is going to go away.
The Terra Sunder should be exiled, though.
No. The damaged ones are the ones that
Oh,
get
that's
exiled.
right. Yep, because they die to state-based actions.
State-based actions, yes.
And there it is. Chris
So
extends
Chris
a hand.
is going to take this one down
Wes got it.
Wes
Yeah.
is going to take this one down to 1.
What a hard-fought match.
So Wes advances to round 3, having no buys, I believe.
No, he's fought it.
And so, in addition to being qualified for the Atlanta regional qualifier,
Regional championship.
Regional championship. Maybe he will also be the OCM championship.
Yeah.
We'll see. We got a lot more Magic to play here today.
Get this man on the Pro Tour.
The rest of the Swiss coming your way after a short break. We'll be right back.